ReactJS interview questions and answers from our experts. By Procoders. The best React interview questions are those that explore what developers achieve using the platform rather than simply what they know. However, before delving into the ReactJS test questions, we would consider some background into this much talked about platform. ReactJS, also known simply as React, is a JavaScript library. It is used to develop web applications. It is open source and primarily for front-end UI development. The best React interview questions for beginners. Why React? React is officially defined as a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. Basically, the idea is to build web applications with rich UI elements. It facilitates smoother communication between developers and web page DOMs, document object models, therefore eliminating the need for the DOM API. What are components? No set of ReactJS interview questions for beginners or any level would be complete without components. Components are the main building blocks, and it is impossible to not talk about them. What are the main features of React? This section of ReactJS test questions explores some popular concepts on the platform. For developers trying to know how to prepare for React interview, be able to explain the core functions of these main features. What are the advantages of React? Every developer must have answers to these basic ReactJS interview questions. To develop on a platform, you need to understand the pros of using that platform. What is the difference between ReactJS and React Native? For non-technical interviewers, it is easy to confuse ReactJS coding interview questions for React Native. However, even for entry-level developers, basic ReactJS interview questions such as this should not be overlooked. Why did you start working with React? This is one of the very good non-technical ReactJS test questions to ask rookie developers. It helps to recover individual motivation and drive to have begun working with React, as well as what has kept them going. Particularly, look out for candidates who mention innovation and growth among their motivations. Top React interview questions and answers for more experienced professionals. What differentiates the class component from the functional component? ReactJS coding interview questions can be quite practical. The preeminent difference between both types of components is syntax. A functional component accepts properties in plain JavaScript functions and returns HTML in the form of JSX elements. As such, they are also known as stateless components. More so, they do not use any render method. Explain controlled versus uncontrolled components in React. Top React interview questions and answers like this are aimed at providing a short direct response to a practical inquiry. One can have a form handled by a React component or alternatively by the DOM directly. Forms implemented in the former manner are called controlled components, while for the latter, they are uncontrolled components. How do you render elements in React? In React, elements are the smallest building blocks of apps. Elements are the plain objects returned from components and rendered into the DOM. Elements determine what you see on the browser screen, but they themselves are not seen. Rather, they are stored in the app's memory. ReactJS experienced interview questions for senior developers. What is higher order component, HOC? Another one of the top React interview questions and answers. Higher order components are used to add sophisticated functionalities to existing components. The purpose of the HOC technique, which is common in third-party React libraries, is to reuse component logic. How does conditional rendering work in React? Conditional rendering is the dynamic output of UI markups depending on the state of a condition. It works similarly to JavaScript conditions. With conditional rendering, one can toggle certain application functions, determine permission levels, show or hide elements, handle authentication, render API data, and so on. What are the drawbacks of React? Interview questions on ReactJS for experienced developers such as this help you to determine that a person knows what they are doing. For someone to claim expertise over a platform, they need to be well acquainted with its limitations and challenges, so as to know how to get around them. Conclusion. These tips and interview questions for React developer must have definitely been helpful for you, just as it has been for us. At ProCoders, all our developers are screened and interviewed before they join the team. We also encourage clients to interact with our developers and ask them useful, and even tricky interview questions for React developer when we set up development teams. Subscribe our channel and read more about ReactJS interview questions and answers from our experts at ProCoders blog.